Alright, so in this video I want to be explaining how to determine absolute value. First of all, I need to explain the concept of absolute value. What is absolute value basically? Absolute value is actually the distance of a number from the origin or number line. Let me put it this way. Absolute value is the distance of a number from the what? From zero, which is the origin basically. So when I say origin in this context, I mean zero, because in most cases origin may not start from zero in some cases. So now it's the distance of a number from zero, and whenever a number, the absolute value of a number is to be found, you look for the difference between the number and zero, and the difference has to be a positive difference. Let me give an illustration. For instance, we have a number line here, right? On this number line we can determine the absolute value of what? Of minus 6. So the absolute value of minus 6 is actually the distance of what? Minus 6, right? From the what? From the 0 point, which is the origin. So what is the distance of minus 6 from 0? That is the positive difference. That is the greater number minus the smaller number. 0 is greater than minus 6. So this one will now be what? That will give you what? 0 minus what? Minus 6. So the absolute value of minus 6 will now be 0 minus times minus, that's plus what? 6, which is equal to what? 6. So that is that about that. And the same thing applies to the absolute value of 6. What's the absolute value of 6? That's the distance of 6 from what? From the origin, or 0. So what's the distance? That's the positive difference. Basically that will be what? 6 minus 0, and that will give you 6. So but we can express absolute value mathematically. How do we do that? Let me increase this page. Pardon me. So if we express absolute value mathematically, it is expressed in this absolute sign. That's, for example, minus a is equal to a. However, if you are not using number line, you can determine absolute value thus. So absolute value can be written thus. The absolute value of minus a is the same thing as what? Square root of minus a then square. Somebody will say square cancel square. No, you have to decompose it. This one will now give you what? Square root of what? Minus a multiplied by minus a. And that will give you what? Minus a times minus a. That will give you what? A square. Square cancel square root, which is equal to what? A. So the absolute value of minus a will return a. The same thing applies to absolute value of a. So absolute value of a is the same thing as square root of what? A square. And that will give us square root of what? A times a. And that will give us square root of what? A square. And that will give us a. So in summary, absolute value is the distance of a number from 0 on number line. And if you express it mathematically, it is often expressed in this form, in the absolute value sign. It's also known as the magnitude of that number. But one thing about absolute value is that it does not return a negative number. What do I mean? Absolute value, a number that enters the absolute value might or can be negative, but cannot return a negative result. And that's number one. Number two, absolute value can only be equal to 0 or greater than 0. It cannot be negative. So there's absolute value of what? Of minus a cannot be negative, right? So it can only be what? Greater than or equal to 0. So what am I trying to say is that absolute value of minus a can only be what? Greater than or equal to 0. I want to believe that this video has helped someone. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video to encourage more of this production. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.